Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. So this is a video that I've been promising I'm going to do for a while. Now this video is primarily to do with UK flies and UK regulations. So, I don't want to waste anybody's time because, I do understand my videos do go sort of worldwide and they get watched from all over. But unless you're from the UK, you're not really going to find much benefit in actually watching this video. And whilst I appreciate you stopping by, which of course you can stay for the ride if you wish, you're not really going to get any value from this video, like I said, unless you are in the UK. But anyway, let's crack on with this video. And in this video we're going to be discussing Article 16, the 4 flying clubs based in the UK, and how those flying clubs, in conjunction with the CAP722 document, can allow you to fly the bigger drones with less restrictions over and above the A2 CofC. So let's get into it. At the end of 2020, the drone regs changed in the UK, so basically any drone under 249 grams, such as the DJI Mini 2, you can pretty much fly it wherever the hell you want, okay, with pretty much no restrictions, other than no overflights over crowds. Whereas something like this, which is the Mavic Air 2, which I've recently bought on this channel, or the the Mavic 2 Pros or Zooms, etc., were massively relegated to category A3, meaning 150 meters away from people, and they can't come any closer. Okay, now that's quite restrictive. Now I have some personal thoughts on this, and flying the both of them. If this truly is about safety, then I'm sorry, but whilst this may lessen, possibly cause less damage if it did hit somebody, this is heavier, don't get me wrong, and it will hurt if it hits somebody, but the fact it's got obstacle avoidance means that it's generally going to be less likely to hit somebody than what you're going to do with a Mini 2. But that's my own little personal rant. So, if you want to fly your drone in the UK, okay, and you want to talk about one of the bigger drones, so do you know what, let's get rid of that, because that's unnecessary for this video, because that is the best solution. You can fly that absolutely anywhere with no restrictions. So there's not much point having that lying around, because this is the sort of type of drone this Article 16 authorization is going to help you with. So, right, let's try and get down to it. I'm going to break this video into separate steps, and Article 16 does cover sort of fly model aircraft as well, but for this video I'm just going to concentrate just on the parts that are applicable to drones, because this is what you guys watch my channel for. Okay, so at the minute, you want to fly this drone, you go to a shop, you buy the Mavic Air 2 or one of the bigger Mavics, essentially anything under anything over 249 grams, okay, you have to keep it 150 meters away from people or built up areas. That's quite restrictive. So what's your options? Well, your first option is you can go do your A2 CofC. Okay, now the A2 CofC is a great sort of online course where you can learn so much more information, and actually I'd highly recommend it to be, I'd highly recommend it because it just gives you so much more knowledge to be able to fly your drone safely and proficiently, to be perfectly honest. However, here's the issue with the A2 CofC. First of all, it costs £100. Okay, now £100 in the grand scheme of things isn't loads, don't get me wrong, but it's £100 and it lasts for 5 years. Now, for the purposes of this video, I'm going to sort of assume that a lot of the drone regulations you're going to know already. Okay, so I'm counting on you. If you've got any questions, I will answer them, but I'm counting on you to have a basic understanding. So at the minute, this drone is in A3 category in the open class. Okay, that's 150 meters away from people. If you want to fly it in the A2 category, you can do so, providing you take this A2 certificate of competency. Now, here's the issue. As I've just mentioned, the A2 CofC costs about £100 and it lasts for 5 years. However, the legacy period, which has been set on drones such as this, is only 2 years. So at the end of 2023, all right, whether you've taken your A2 CofC or not, subject to the rules not changing whatsoever and there being no leeway by the CAA, this drone at the end of 2 years will automatically get relegated back to A3. Okay, meaning your £100 A2 CofC you've just paid for, which lasts for 5 years, was actually only going to be relevant for 2 years, because the legacy drone time limit runs out in 2023. So I don't think that's a great solution. But hopefully in this video I'm going to explore a much better solution, and as I said, we're going to go through it step by step and tell you exactly what you need. So let's get into that now. So in the UK, there are 4 flying clubs with which this Article 16 applies to. So you have the BMFA, which is one of the most popular ones. You have the SAA, which is the Scottish Aeromodelers Association. You have the LMA, which is the Large Model Aircraft Association. And you have FPV UK, which of course I'm a part of. Basically, the founders of these groups have got together with the CAA, and assuming that their sort of members are responsible pilots and, you know, very competent and not going to risk or cause any endangerment to the public, they have agreed a new set of rules with the CAA which applies to their members only, and this is subject to a risk assessment, but I'm going to go through that in the back end of the video. So the Article 16 covers drones from over 249 grams all the way up to 25 kilograms. So that's quite a wide scope. So pretty much any drone that you are going to be flying or potentially flying, this Article 16 does apply to. So what do you need? So let's start this section of your general responsibilities and what you need before you fly. Right, so 2 of the biggest stipulations, and I want to stop you right there because these are absolutely fixed points. Article 16 does not allow commercial flying, okay? So commercial flying is out. If you've got a YouTube channel and that is monetized, that does not count as commercial. Commercial is simply paid work where somebody is physically giving you money for a job that you're doing, such as a roof inspection, as many people like to do, taking your photos and selling them on Etsy, or, you know, and uploading them to a YouTube channel which is monetized. That doesn't count as commercial, so you're okay there. So the next thing is you have to use fingers on sticks flying only, no automated modes, no quick shots, no waypoints, nothing like that. They're not allowed. Under Article 16, you have to have fingers on sticks flying, okay? And as I've mentioned, no commercial flights. If you want to do any of those things, then you're better off doing the A2 CofC because those allow that. But apart from that, you need to be a minimum age of 18 to get your operator ID, but the remote pilot can be as young as 10. Or you can both be over the age of 14 or 14 or over, providing you've both passed the competency tests. Okay, so that's simple as that. Now, what requirements do you need? So to be able to fly Article 16, you have to have your operator ID on your drone, but you should know that you have to do that anyway in the UK because it's got a camera and it's not a toy, so, you know, that's pretty standard stuff. Couple of things. Obviously, I am going to link to the full Article 16 in the description below so you can go check it all out for yourself. Do read it through. Now, whilst a lot of it is going to seem really, really scary, it's really not. You know, a lot of it is basic common sense stuff. So you need to have your operator ID. That's a fact. And you need to have it on your drone. And the usual applies. You need to have it in a place where it can be accessed without using any sort of tools. Different with Article 16 is you need to have that operator ID on you. Now, this is where this comes in. Now, I'm not going to show all my details, but essentially, I had a little accident with a car air freshener where it's decided to fade some of it. But essentially, if you sign up to FPV UK, which I have, you can buy this card. It's around £8. And what it does is, again, I'm covering it up, is you can input your DJI operator ID and your CAA operator ID and everything else. And basically what it'll do is it'll populate this card for you. I think it's £8. And you can just carry that with you because one of the stipulations is you have to have your operator ID on your person. Okay, so that's a couple of things that you need to actually do yourself before you even fly. Also, again, I am rushing through this as such. I'm giving you the information, but just the stuff that's relevant for drones. So you need to have some sort of degree of flight competency, okay? So the DMARES test by the CAA counts as this level of competency. So if you've already gone online and got your operator ID, and you've already done your flyer ID, and you've done the multiple choice questions and you've passed, again, you can input the details into FPV UK or the relevant association that you're signing up with, and then that proves that you are competent because you've done that test. If you haven't done that test yet, I would suggest you go do it anyway, but it's not mandatory. The 4 flying clubs which I've listed, which I've already mentioned, okay, if you go online to become a member, they also have their own little online test. When I did FPV UK's, I think it was 10 or 12 questions. It was a few months ago now. Can't quite remember how many. But again, those competency questions that you sort of answer when you sign up, which you can take using the websites or the associated website, that will do, and that will be good enough for your competency as well, and they're really not hard, guys. So again, this is all basic stuff, nothing really out of the ordinary. So again, what we've just covered, we've covered that commercial flights are not allowed, fingers on sticks flying only. You have to have your operator ID, which you have to have your operator ID anyway. The difference is you've got to have your operator ID with your person, so something like that card or some sort of proof or printed letter. That's, you know, a little bit of a stipulation. Article 16 covers all drones from 249 grams upwards up to 25 kilograms, and you have to have passed some sort of competency test to be able to do it. Right, so let's get on to some of the other little bits and pieces then. Right, so let's look at specific operator responsibilities. One of them, I've touched on them already, so I'll pop them on screen now, okay? So your operator responsibilities: ensure the remote pilot is in possession of the relevant remote pilot competence requirements. We have discussed that. That's your DMARES test or your online competency test from the relevant flight association. Ensure the model aircraft is sufficiently maintained and that any repairs carried out to it are satisfactorily made, such as that it is in a safe condition to be flown. I mean, that's pretty obvious, isn't it? You know, you're not going to fly off with a prop missing. You know, I mean, if you've got something as technically advanced as the DJI Mavics anyway, I mean, if they develop a fault, they won't even take off themselves. So, you know, you've sort of covered there. What else do we have? Ensure the remote pilot is aware of the limitations, conditions of this authorization. Yeah. Ensure the remote pilot is aware of the rules, procedures of the relevant association. Again, this is more relevant if you're flying in a sort of club that is using Article 16 for their area or for their designated flight space. So you don't need to worry about that one too much when you're flying a drone. Ensure that any necessary permissions or authorizations are obtained for any specific flight. Again, that's pretty obvious. And ensure the remote pilot is aware of any relevant airspace limitations. Again, NATS Drone Assist will help you with that. This sort of article makes it sound really, really official, but the chances are you're doing most of this anyway. So this section is to do with remote pilot responsibilities, and most of it is absolute common sense, okay? So once again, I'm going to pop this on screen so you can see it yourself. So it's a condition of the authorization that remote pilots comply with the following requirements. And again, he even says in brackets there, it's largely common sense. So you need to be fit to fly, don't fly under the influence of psychoactive substances or alcohol, don't do drugs are bad, have the appropriate competency and evidence of it, such as your membership card document. Again, a lot of it's repeated, I've already covered that. We've got our FPV UK card, or I have. Be familiar with the manufacturer instructions if applicable. Not many people of you seem to actually read your instructions, judging by the amount of questions that pop up on social media, but it is a condition, so just read them. Okay. Before flying, it is a requirement to make sure there are no relevant airspace restrictions in place where you intend to fly. Ensure the operating environment is compatible with the limitations and conditions set out within this authorization. Ensure your aircraft is in safe condition to complete the flight safely, and ensure any relevant information about the operation has been made available to the relevant air traffic service, other airspace users and relevant stakeholders when required. Okay, again, simple stuff, guys. Open up the NATS Drone Assist, see if there's any restrictions. Don't fly it like a moron. You know, be safe, be aware of your surroundings. You know, it's not difficult, and that's a simple solution. During the flight, it is a requirement that you comply with the limitations and conditions set out within this authorization. avoid any risk of collision with any manned aircraft and discontinue a flight when it may endanger other aircraft, comply with any applicable airspace restrictions, comply with the rules and procedures of your association and/or club, and where is it? Do not fly close to or inside areas where an emergency response effort is ongoing unless you have permission to do so from the responsible emergency response service. Again, obvious stuff. You know, it makes it look like it's so official and so strict, but really, it's obvious, simple stuff. Okay, like I say, open up your drone assist, fly in safe areas. You know, it's not difficult, but ultimately, what we're going to do is we've covered the boring stuff. No disrespect, it's important, but this is the stuff you're not really here in the video to watch. What you want to know is, you know, if I pass this Article 16, what do I need to do and where can I fly? So that's what we're going to cover in this next section. So this is the section you really have been waiting for then, and where can I fly, or where can you fly, using Article 16 authorization? And effectively, the simple answer is wherever you fly now. I'm going to pop on screen now the first little bits and pieces for you to read yourself, but it's not really relevant because it talks about flying clubs. Okay, so this authorization is valid throughout the UK at any established model flying club site, clubs operating in a built-up area, and this means an area substantially used for industrial, recreational, commercial or residential, must conduct a risk assessment and have suitable mitigations in place within their field safety rules. Now, at the end of the day, this is for model flying clubs, so we're not going to talk about that in much detail because we're going to look at the next section, okay? And this is the important bit. Any other suitable site which is not a built-up area. So effectively, as I've said, you do need to do a risk assessment, okay, no matter what. This is one of the conditions of Article 16. Okay, so let's get into that in a little bit more detail. Risk assessments, okay, not difficult to do. In fact, that's simple. I'm going to pop an example from the BMFA on screen now. So I'm talking, and you can take a few seconds to sort of digest this. What I'll also do is I will also pop down a link in the description so you can see a blank and download a blank copy for yourself to be able to fill this in. Okay, so have we got that? Right, perfect. Back to me. Now, why would you need to fly a drone with a risk assessment? What's the benefit of doing so? Well, I'll tell you the benefit. Okay. Using Article 16 authorization, providing you well maintained your drone, you're a member of one of the 4 flying associations, you've done a risk assessment, you've got your operator ID on drone and on your person, and you have a degree of level of competency such as your DMARIS test or your flight association, flying club test, okay? With this in A3 category, you can fly this, or you have to fly this legally, 150 metres away from people. If you do your A2 CofC, you can fly this 50 metres away from people. If you do all of what I've just mentioned, and you are a member of one of the 4 flying clubs, using Article 16, you can fly this 30 metres away from people. 30 metres. That's a lot closer. Okay? And that distance actually reduces to 15 metres for takeoff and landing. I mean, literally 15 metres is nothing. You know, it's close. I mean, 30 metres is more than close enough anyway. You might argue 50 metres is close enough. Where does this become most relevant? So let's read the last part. So not only a suitable site which is not a built-up area, but you can fly this within a built-up area, is within an area which is only used substantially for recreational purposes. For example, playing fields or sports pitches, and a risk assessment has been carried out. So, if you live in a typical city and you want to go take this to a park, right? You can. Everybody thinks that you've got to remain 150 metres away from people with this piece of kit. But with this Article 16 authorization, you can take it to a park. And, you can fly these things within a built-up area, just not over houses. So you can't do that. You can't fly it over houses, okay, because that's a built-up area, so you can't do that. But if you've got, a park or a green space, which most cities have, you can fly it within 30 metres of people. And here's a huge benefit, okay? So this 30 metres includes overhead flight, okay? So you can even fly overhead at only 30 metres separation. Now, this is different for assemblers of people, but then again, you can't fly the Mavic Mini over assemblies of people and groups of people. You're not allowed to, So with this authorization, if you've encountered a group of people, then no overflight, but a horizontal separation distance of 30 metres. Okay, so if your people are here, you need to be 30 metres that way, 30 metres that way. You can overfly 30 metres. If it's a group, but sort of one or two uninvolved people, you can fly over at a height of 30 metres. And that's all you need. Good or what? Really good. So the next thing then is to do with height, okay? Because if you're going to read this Article 16 yourself, you're going to see that BMFA members or FPV UK members have authorization to fly over 400 feet, okay? So you might think that's a good thing. Sadly, not you, not me, and not with this. Okay, that authorization ends with multi-rotor craft such as drones. So sadly, if you had a model aircraft, you can fly over 400 feet. But if it's a drone, you can't. Sorry guys, but it is what it is. So onto the last section then, and this is to do with reporting requirements, okay? So if you are flying your drone and you have any sort of near miss with aircraft, again, I'm not going to read everything out to you, I'm just going to summarise and you can go read it yourself. This video is more about making you aware of what you can and can't do and what you need. So effectively, you have to report any incidents, any deaths, any injuries to the AAIB and the CAA, okay? So that's a strict regulation of using Article 16. Everything has to be reported, okay? Any accidents, serious incidents, any fatalities, serious injuries, manned aircraft, close encounters, anything like that, you have to report that, okay? It's very, very simple. You also have to report instances of, close encounters with manned aircraft or flying over 400 feet. So, yeah, all of these have to be reported, but essentially, again, that's common sense, guys. So, I wouldn't worry about that too much. And finally, you're going to have to just declare whenever you sign up to whichever relevant flying association you do that you agree and you understand these terms and conditions, okay? Now, here's what it costs, okay? Because I've not actually gone into that yet. So like I say, your A2 CofC is for commercial use and you can use sort of automated flight modes. Article 16, recreational, fun, sport, everything else only. So bear that in mind, and it's fingers on sticks flying only. Now, at the end of the day, there are 4 associations. I know I'm repeating myself, but they offer different prices. Here's a huge bonus as well, okay? If you take your A2 CofC, it's £100, lasts for 5 years, all right? And, you get the benefits of that, but that's all to do with flight authorization and separational distances. If you sign up to something like a flying club, like FPV UK, okay, my membership per year is £20. So I can have the benefits of this membership for 5 years before I have broke even for the amount it would cost me to do the A2 CofC. Okay? Now, here's a huge added bonus. If you haven't seen my video yet where I compare DJI Care Refresh versus an independent drone insurance, please do check that out because this becomes relevant. So with the relevant flying clubs, you also get public liability insurance included within your premium. Okay, now that is a huge benefit. Okay, so not only do you get the membership, and you not only do you become a member of the flying club, and you get the ability to use this Article 16 authorization, and you get the lower separations and everything else, you also get public liability insurance thrown in for your yearly membership. That's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant. Okay, as I've said before, in that sort of drone video where I compare insurances, when you go out and when you fly this, or even the Mavic Mini, I don't care which one you fly, okay? Whenever you go out and fly, you should always be thinking safety. You should always be thinking, should something happen, okay, what am I going to do about it? Now, too many people concentrate on cover for their drone. You know, if you crash your drone, what happens to your drone? Well, sod that. At the end of the day, if you crash your drone, what happens to the object or the person or the car or the building you potentially crash it into? What happens then? You know, with public liability insurance, you're covered against those things. Now, for the price, as I say, £20. £20 per year to become a member of FPV UK. Other associations charge different amounts. I found FPV UK the cheapest. Not that I was being sort of tight, but it did what I needed to do. Now, if you make that out, £5 million. £5 million worth of public liability. I mean, you'd have to hit something pretty expensive to use that £5 million worth of public indemnity insurance, public liability insurance. But it's still there. So, that's Article 16. This video is how you get it, where you use it, how you use it, how much it costs using FPV UK. Please do your own research as to which one you want to join. I have to give a bit of a thanks to the BMFA because, quite frankly, even though I am with FPV UK based on price, you know, the BMFA website, which I'll link down, they've provided so much information to be able to make this video. Okay, you know, they've provided a lot of the information, which, I mean, obviously I knew it anyway, but they've just sort of condensed it down and made it so much easier to be able to present to you. So anyway, that's the end of the video. Here's my little rant, okay? Everybody in the UK have wrote off bigger drones like this, alright? I find it so incredibly annoying and frustrating. These things, in my opinion, are safer. They allow you to fly more because of the wind resistance than the mini series drones. Everybody in the UK has become absolutely obsessed with the DJI Mini 2. Okay, and realistically, I honestly think these things are safer. Now, here's a little thought for you. Okay, when people come to dismissing these bigger drones still being relevant in the UK, on social media, okay, such as Facebook or whatever, when people are posting their beautiful photos, what do you see? Do you see next door neighbour's dog? No. Okay. Do you see a car going past the street? No. What do you see? You see a church. You see a castle, a beautiful bridge. You see a landmark. Okay. Now, I would say 90 to 95% of the photos or videos or anything that people post on social media to showcase their work, they're generally more than 150 metres away from people anyway. So I don't know why, based on restrictions and the Mini 2 being less restricted in the UK, why everybody's gone out and bought the Mini 2. It's a great drone, absolutely fantastic drone. But something like this, which is, it just is more capable. You know, I've figured it out myself since I've bought it. It is more capable. But realistically, most of the photos and videos I see, you're more than 150 metres away from people anyway. Even if you didn't want to go down the Article 16 route. So, guys, you know, these drones are still massively relevant. That's my little rant. I'm sure you get where I'm going with this. But anyway, that is time to end the video. Hopefully you found this useful. If you've got any questions at all, then please put them in the comment section below. This video has gone on for quite some time. I do apologise. It's actually the second time of filming it, because first time round I thought it went on too long. Second time it's gone on too long, but there's just so much to cover to make it too much of a short video. Thank you very much for watching. If you did find it useful, give it a big thumbs up. If you completely disagree with my sentiments, then feel free to, tell me in the comment section below. I don't mind. Let's have a discussion about this. Thank you very much for watching, and see you again soon.